Hi everybody, Dr. Scott Theirl here, and I want to spend a couple minutes discussing something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, not just myself as a clinician, but that is your brain and your nervous system and how well you can hopefully keep your neurons, your nerve cells healthy as you age. I think all of us would agree that that's very important. I just read an interesting article. It was in a journal by the name of Frontiers in Cellular Neuroscience, and I want to share it with you. It was from February 2015. Now, it has a bit of a lengthy title, but bear with me. Systemic Inflammation and the Brain, Novel Roles of Genetic, Molecular, and Environmental Cues as Drivers of Neurodegeneration. Now, neurodegeneration, as these neurons age and ultimately die, leads to a multitude of consequences. Some of them could be different types of autoimmune challenges, such as MS, right, or ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Other ones could just be the slow decline, involving mood, involving memory, involving attention and cognition. None of which are great. So we want to try to avoid that as much as we can. Now, a couple highlights from this article, which are key in terms of just taking care of yourself and helping improve your health long term, involve this. It's the neuroimmune concept. The fact that your nervous system and your immune system, even though they're two separate systems, they play off of each other all day, every day. And neuroimmunology is a newer type of study and research window into how these two systems interact, because we finally have the science to start to understand how the nervous system and immune system interacts, just starting around 2005. So it's a pretty new, different type of window of looking at how these work. The neat thing is, if you improve your nervous system, you can help your immune system. And vice versa, if you improve your immune system, you can help your nervous system. So the question becomes, how do these interact? Well, it works a little bit like this. They highlight the fact that people that are under stress, and you name your stress, right? We've talked about how stress can be cognitive, it can be physical, it can be emotional, any of those. Physical would be pain, right? And any type of cognitive issue, you'd be trying to learn something new at work or in school. And then emotional, of course, would be our social interactions with our loved ones and our family and our friends. Any type of stress response and persistent stress, and they use the examples such as Alzheimer's caregivers to Alzheimer's patients, have been shown to display abnormal immune responses in what are called their T cells, a type of immune system cell. As those T cells start to wind down, you start to lose your ability to fight off various infections and other types of challenges, such as even cancer sometimes. So your immune system starts to ramp up as your poor stress response in your nervous system fatigues. We talk a lot about nervous system health. We talk a lot about nervous system stress responses and adrenal stress responses. We talk about how you have to figure out, in my practice, early, middle, and late stage neuroadrenal fatigue, and how you want to balance your neurotransmitter systems, your adrenal hormone systems, and your sex hormones, as well as your thyroid hormones, so that you can maintain an optimal stress response for the long haul. If you don't, and you undergo persistent stress responses, it will ultimately lead to an immune system that may become less balanced than you would like. And when you start to see different types of T cell counts start to go down, your immune system really becomes weaker, and it can allow different scenarios such as autoimmunity and neurodegeneration to start to happen. How does that work? Well, it works because as the immune system starts to get skewed, you become more inflamed. And there's all different types of immune markers we can look at for inflammation, right? The most common ones are cytokines. You can look at cytokine tests, see whether or not there is an inflammatory response, if that was something that you wish to do, and you can try to modify it. Well, a lot of what we do for modifying your immune system starts with your behavior right at home, and it's what you put in your mouth all day, every day. So if you can help heal your GI tract, if you can improve what you put in your mouth in terms of reducing refined sugars, making sure that what you're eating is probably generally low on the carbohydrate scale, right? Higher on the protein and good fat scale, lots of vegetables, some fruits. A lot of people are going to feel their best if they're gluten-free and dairy-free. You can start to improve your inflammatory immune response, and that improved immune system can help your nervous system. Because if your immune system continues to be inflamed and release lots of these different pro-inflammatory molecules, such as cytokines, these can cross the blood-brain barrier, and they can hurt your neuronal cells as well as your supportive cells for your central nervous system. Those are called your glial cells. And if these microglial cells don't do a good job keeping up with their own health, they can't support the neurons and the job that they're supposed to do. They might lose their myelin, such as in the case of some cases of MS. They might just slow down how well they function. They may actually undergo apoptosis. It might be that their mitochondria, their energy producing portions of the actual neurons, start to get damaged due to too many free radicals or too many reactive nitrogen species and oxygen species. So if you can start at home by eating a healthy diet and supporting your GI tract, you can support your immune system, and you can indirectly and really directly support your nervous system. The second thing, of course, would be to make sure that neurotransmitters are healthy. So when we think about a urine neurotransmitter test and we think about how something like norepinephrine is a neurotransmitter that responds to stress. You release it in massive amounts when you are under psychological as well as physical stress. If your norepinephrine levels start to run low, your immune system starts to often become very pro-inflammatory. So we need nice, healthy norepinephrine levels to try to keep the brakes on and dampen the immune system response a little bit so that hopefully that neuroimmune system can balance itself out. So think about a urine neurotransmitter test for norepinephrine and how it might affect your immune system if you suffer with chronic immune challenges. The third thing, of course, would be lifestyle. Because in that case right there, we just said, listen, you have a persistent caregiver here to some type of neurodegenerative case, right? Alzheimer's is the example that they used. And they said in that case, the immune system does start to show signs of challenges. Sometimes it becomes hyper-responsive, sometimes it becomes weakened. All of it usually leads to inflammation and oxidative stress. We can't all change our lifestyle. If you're a caregiver to somebody, such as in this case Alzheimer's, yeah, you've got a big job to do, and it can go on for a long time, often many years. If you're a caregiver to anyone else, it can often go on also for many months or many years. But if you're in a job that you don't like, if you're in a relationship that you don't like, try to support yourself and be good to yourself by changing your lifestyle with better food, right? Better exercise, better social network, hopefully a nice job network, so that you can feel like, geez, I love my life, and yes, there are stressors in it, but I've done as good of a job as I possibly can to change my lifestyle, and now I'm also improving my gut and my diet to hopefully support my nervous system long term. A lot of people say, Scott, it all sounds kind of vague. I get it, there's some immune system dysregulation, maybe I don't eat the best, maybe I drink too much soda, maybe I have too many cookies and donuts. But it seems like it's slow over the course of years in terms of my downregulation of my nervous system health. And it often is, and that's called sickness behavior, whereas slowly you start to become inflamed. The immune system starts to release more of these inflammatory mediators and more of these inflammatory mediators as time goes on. And you develop what's called a sickness behavior. And a sickness behavior is similar to the last time you had some type of cold virus, if you think about it. You had malaise and fatigue. A lot of times you'll have some type of pain. Your attention systems usually aren't so good, right? Your working memory and your attention systems to tasks when you have a cold, not so great. You may notice that your motivation isn't fabulous. I just don't feel like doing anything. I'm under the weather. Your mood usually isn't so good. And your sleep could go either way. Your sleep could be elevated, where you're sleeping all the time and you're tired all day long, or your sleep may not actually be so good because of inflammation and pain and it throwing off some of your neurotransmitter and sleep chemistry in terms of other hormones. So if you think of the sickness behavior and how it affects our brain when you actually have a cold, it's very similar to this sickness behavior with slow, low-grade inflammation. And as the immune system wears down the nervous system becomes less healthy. Now, depending upon your own nervous system, you may notice that it may be your mood that takes a hit, it may be your energy that takes a hit, maybe your sleep that takes a hit, maybe your cognition that takes a hit, it may be your neuroimmune system, such as autoimmune diseases like MS, that take a hit. Any and all of those are potential. Listen, you're an individual, you deserve to be treated like an individual. This gave a lot of different ideas of how your nervous system and your immune system interact with each other and interplay with each other. At the end of the day, take care of yourself. Do a good job with what you put into your body and into your mouth. That's a great way to start on supporting your immune system and your nervous system. Make your lifestyle as low stress as possible. And if you're still struggling with neuroimmune types of symptomatologies, be sure to think about things like food sensitivity tests, where you can actually look at what you're eating and how it's affecting your immune system. Think about neurotransmitter tests. Think about hormone tests with cortisol. Think about sex hormone tests. Think about thyroid hormone tests. And support yourself from a neuroendoimmune perspective on many different levels and as many different roads as you can to help yourself feel your best. I'm Dr. Scott Theirl. Thanks for tuning in for a couple minutes on how to keep your immune system and your nervous system healthy so that you can have your best body, your best brain, and your best life. I appreciate your time.